Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast of your favorite tanking team in the Bay Area. On today's episode, we're going to talk about the Sharks' 5-4 shootout loss to the Ducks, where they blew the lead and thoroughly dominated the Ducks and still ended up losing. A masterful piece of tanking. Plus, spent some time in Barracuda land as they lost 8-2 to the Calgary Wranglers, and things are not okay in San Jose hockey. So all that and more on today's episode of Locked On Sharks.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm your host, JD Young, contributor at Fear the Fan, San Jose Hockey Now. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. We're free and available wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. We have a new Lego figure today. So if you're, want to see that, make sure you're checking out Locked On Sharks wherever you get podcasts. We're getting close to 1,500. Once I get to 1,500, I think I have a pretty nice giveaway I'm going to do. So make sure you guys, if you haven't yet, please subscribe. We'll keep an eye out for the announcement on the 1,500 subscribers giveaway. But the Sharks, masterful piece of tanking, if I do say so myself. A 5-4 shootout loss. 3 shootout losses in a row, which is, again, just great work by them. Can't believe it. Yes. In a game where they were way better than the Ducks. Tuesday's game against the Ducks was a pretty back and forth affair. Both teams had a lot of shots. The Sharks in this game had 52 shots on goal. 52 to the Ducks 25. Sharks went 1 for 5 on the power play. The Ducks didn't have any power play opportunities. If you look at the fancy stats, it's even more depressing or encouraging. I don't know, whatever you want to pick from it. But in all situations for the Sharks, they had an expected goals of 5.25. I believe I'm pulling up the thing right now. 5.43. I was even worse. 5 point. So that means they were expected to score almost, 5.5 goals. The Ducks in all situations, 2.28. The Sharks just absolutely dominated the Ducks in every possible category except for goals. The Sharks had, this is ridiculous. In all situations, the Sharks had 46 scoring chances, 26 high danger chances compared to the Ducks' 26 scoring chances and 10 high danger chances. Like, the Sharks did whatever they wanted to do offensively, and they just kept shooting themselves in the foot. Poor James Reimer, 2 goals on 4 shots in the first period. And, they weren't bad goals. I mean, yes, you would like James Reimer to make a save on one of those, but, they weren't bad goals. It's not like they were, they were bad, defensive breakdowns or somebody, just little things that went wrong. And the Sharks just right now aren't a good enough team to cover up for whenever they make those type of mistakes. And again, I'm curious to see with this team now how they kind of respond. They have a few days off. They don't play again until Thursday when they start a road trip here. But this team, you can start to kind of see them coming together, and you don't know if this is their peak right now of losing 3 straight shutouts, or if this is maybe a building block or a step into them kind of becoming a more competitive team. We'll get into the lines a little bit, and it looks like the Sharks might have found a first line right now, at least for a little while. But like the way Erik Karlsson's playing, and I've talked at length about what Erik Karlsson's doing right now. He adds another assist in this game. He's got 19 points so far this season in 14 games. Timo Meier getting going now. Tomas Hertl finally gets on finally scores a goal for the first time since game 1. Like you can see the top 6 starting to come together. But again, they constantly make dumb mistakes, or they shoot themselves in the foot, or they can't get a save when they need to, and they lose these close games. So I don't know, is this going to be this team of just playing really fun, exciting games, but losing them at the end, which I'm personally fine with. I think that makes for a fun season of tanking, of being exciting but still losing. Or is this, you're seeing the signs of coming together, and the Sharks can be a little bit more competitive team as they start to hit this next stretch where, kind of this Thanksgiving through the New Year stretch of like being a competitive team before we start getting to trade deadline talk. So we shall see. I'm leaning towards, I just, as great as Erik Karlsson's playing, he can't keep up this. And if Erik Karlsson isn't continually being the engine, and I know, again, we'll talk about the Hertl line here in a little bit. Those guys are playing better, but again, the Ducks aren't a very good team. They're really fun to watch with all their young pieces, but the Ducks aren't a very good team. Tampa's kind of finding its way right now. Florida's kind of finding its way right now. Those teams are going to be good teams, but you kind of caught them when you'd want to play them at the beginning of the season before they become well-oiled machines. So I think this is kind of the recipe for the Sharks this season, is playing a lot of fun competitive games, but just not having the horses at the end to break through and win these games. So before we continue, look at the Sharks, how dominant, like when I say dominant, how dominant the Hertl, Labanc, Meier line was. And talk about poor James Reimer. Let's take a quick break. I want to talk to you guys about our friends over at SimpliSafe. With the holidays here, break-ins increase. And there's nothing worse than having your stuff stolen, especially at the holidays, right? That's where SimpliSafe comes in. Home security that right now is offering you 50% off with their award-winning security system. That way more families can feel safe and secure this holiday season. Order your SimpliSafe season for half off today. Enjoy advanced security and greater peace of mind this holiday season. And the great thing about them, an emergency 24/7 professional monitoring agents use Fast Protect technology exclusively from SimpliSafe to capture critical evidence and verify the threat is real, so you can get priority police response. That way, if like a squirrel runs in your backyard, they're not going to send the police because of that. Like they're going to actually monitor and make sure, oh, this is a real threat. Somebody's trying to break into my house. Let's send the police out to stop them, or to try to help, right? And the great thing about it is your top-rated SimpliSafe app. So if you're out at a party, you're at a Christmas party, you want to check in on the house, boom, pull it up, scroll through. Okay, I can check all the cameras, make sure everything is going great at home, especially with our HD security cameras. You have some inside covering the doors. You have some outside along the property. They have you covered. So don't miss your chance to save big on the only security system I recommend. Get 50% off any new SimpliSafe system at simplisafe.com/LockedOnNHL. This is our biggest discount of the year, so do not wait. That's simplisafe.com/LockedOnNHL. There's no safe like SimpliSafe. And again, thank you guys for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Now for your second listen, when you're done listening to this one, go check out the Locked On Game to Game NHL. Every moment, every top performance, every result, Locked On Game to Game covers every game from across the NHL with local analysis that only Locked On can deliver. Follow Game to Game on the Locked On NHL app, available on Odyssey, YouTube, or wherever you get podcasts. All right, so we might have found, I was a little worried about the Labanc line when they played on Thursday, but we might have found, at least for now, a first line. Kevin Labanc, Tomas Hertl, Timo Meier played 9 minutes and 40 seconds at 5-on-5. They had 18 shot attempts compared to the Ducks 4 during that time. Actual shots on goal was 11-2, and this line scored 3 goals while giving up 1. They had 12 scoring chances, 6 high danger chances, 4 rush attempts, those beautiful rush attempts, and David Quinn let them cook 7 offensive zone starts. That's what we love to see. Give your best players the opportunity to do what they do best. Tomas Hertl, Timo Meier, Kevin Labanc, they can score you goals, and we saw that on Saturday night. They also did have 4 neutral zone and 3 defensive zone. Cool. But Kevin Labanc starting to find his groove a little bit here. Had a goal and assist. Timo Meier doing Timo time. The 90-point Timo Meier gif, the Undertaker arm out of the grave, like it's still alive. Tomas Hertl scoring. That Hertl needed that goal badly, but we're starting to see this line start to click. Timo Meier, a goal and 2 assists. Love it. Hertl, a goal and assist. Kevin Labanc, a goal and an assist. Sorry, Hertl had 2 assists. My bad. Starting to see these guys click after a very, very slow start. So we'll see. They've got the Blues. The Blues right now are struggling to score. On Thursday, they got some time off right now. So we'll see how this line, if it can continue to carry the momentum forward. But if the Sharks are winning games, it's basically got to be Timo, Hertl, and Erik Karlsson. And Erik Karlsson's been pulling his weight. Timo Meier's been pulling his weight recently, and it's good to see Tomas Hertl start to get in on the action as well. Some other good standout performances. I think you have to look at the second line, actually, of it's working. I have no idea how, but it is working right now. Actually, no, it's Barabanov. Barabanov's making the line. I'm going to say it's Barabanov. Barabanov's been playing pretty well, even though he hasn't been getting on the score sheet, but he's doing all those little things. But the Matt Nieto, Logan Couture, Alexander Barabanov line, 12 shot attempts for, 7 shot attempts allowed. Actual shots on goal, 11-3. And then they did give up a goal, but they were productive offensively. They had 8 scoring chances, 2 allowed, 3 high danger chances, 0 allowed as well. And again, a little bit more kind of even with them, where they had 5 offensive zone starts, 3 neutral zone, and 5 defensive zone starts. So if you're getting these defensive zones faceoffs, but you're still producing, that is what we love to see. We love to see that transition, right? Where they're not just getting pinned in their own area and, spending the entire shift down there, basically just playing defense. So right now, these lines are working. Okay. Love to see it. So next lines, Kunin, Bonino, and Sturm. 8:33 time on ice, 9 shot attempts, 4. Did give up 4 shot attempts. Actual shots on goal was 5-3. And then scoring chances, 6-3, 4-2 high danger. And then for them, 4 offensive zone, 2 neutral zone, 1 defensive zone. And then finally, Gadovich, Lawrence, Lindblom. So Gadovich came in for Noah Gregor. Had kind of a feeling that Gadovich would be in to, kind of settle some scores, especially after the Trevor Zegras. I was right. Gadovich definitely fought somebody. But this line held their own as well. And I mean, we see this, especially when you have 52 shots on goal, all your lines are going to kind of win their matchups, right? So 11 shot attempts for, 6 allowed. Shots on goal was 9-3 for them. And they had 3 offensive, 3 neutral zone, 0 defensive. So you see a lot of offensive zone starts. Again, when you're getting 52 shots on goal, you're probably going to be spending the majority of your time in the offensive zone. So I think, though, the frustrating part was just how, I don't want to say Reimer let him down, but again, Reimer has been carrying this team for the past season plus now, and it's okay for James Reimer to have a bad game here and there, but it sucks where it's like the Sharks offense was awesome on Saturday night, and they couldn't scrape together decent goaltending. And his numbers are going to look really bad because they didn't actual shots on goal was bad for the Ducks, right? They only had 25 shots on goal. Reimer 21 and 25 throughout the entire 60 minutes and overtime, so 65 minutes. Expected goals against 2.28, and he gives up 4. High danger chances, 5 high danger saves on 8. Sorry, yeah, 5 high danger saves on 8 high danger chances, and that was the thing. Was like the Ducks were doing a good job of getting they weren't getting a lot of shots, but they were getting quality shots, right? If you have 8 high danger, 6 mid, and then 9 low danger, you're getting quality shots, and that was the kind of the problem with the Sharks is anytime they had kind of a letdown, it was catastrophic for them. So again, with Reimer, I was really kind of surprised they didn't go back to Kaapo Kähkönen and maybe to try to kind of gain some of his confidence back, especially after Tuesday's game. I thought Reimer played pretty well against the Panthers on Thursday, kept them in that game for the most part. So we'll see now, especially they have some time off. So I still think it's pretty much going to be a 50-50 split. Kaapo Reimer's been the better goaltender of the two by far, but you're starting to see a little wear and tear with Reimer where he's not quite Superman that he was, especially at the beginning of the season. We saw this last year too, where Reimer started the season really well, but then, he's a little bit older and you put him in a lot of precarious situations of having to kind of do it all and make up for a lot of mistakes. So I wonder if Kaapo Kähkönen on this road trip gets maybe a little bit more of maybe a chance to try to kind of take the number one goaltender. So, I personally would like to see Kaapo Kähkönen win the number one goaltender at some point because he's younger and could be your potential future in the crease. Well, James Reimer is probably going to be playing for another team at the end of the season, especially a team like Toronto, which is dying. Their goaltenders are dying. So, I'm not saying James Reimer to Toronto, but if I was general manager Mike Career, I would be calling Toronto every day asking if they want James Reimer. So before we continue, we're going to spend the last segment talking about the Barracuda and their 8-2 loss to the Calgary Wranglers. Let's take a quick break, let you guys know about the Locked On Sports today. So again, thank you guys for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. You should definitely go check out the Locked On Sports Today podcast. They have the biggest stories of the day, plus instant reactions, big game recaps, and their take of the day. Mondays, of course, nice recap of everything that happened in the NFL. But they got you covered Monday through Friday with all the biggest sports stories. So go check them out on the Odyssey app, YouTube, or wherever you get podcasts. All right. The Barracuda dropped their 4th straight game. They lose 8-2 to the Calgary Wranglers. Definitely was a game where that got out of hand really quickly of course, when you give up 8 goals. But the Barracuda hadn't played since the following Saturday, and it looked like it, right? Especially for a team that's very, very young. I know they have plenty of veterans on there, but this team is predominantly guys playing either in their first or second year of professional hockey. And it looked like it there, where they're just getting beat to the puck a lot, getting beat on board battles, all the little nitty gritty things that coaches love. The Barracuda just were not able to do that stuff. And when you do that, and the Wranglers pretty good team. Dustin Wolf, their goaltender, he is an amazing goalie. Like he's going to be a very, very good goalie. So Barracuda did have they had a couple breakaway chances. Bordelot got one, Weatherby got one, like Agazino got one. And Dustin Wolf just shut him down. And that's what's happened sometimes when you play a really, really good goaltender, where if you get a chance, sometimes they just make up for the mistakes. So Tristan Robbins, though, comes on the podcast, goes out and scores a goal and assist. Love to see that. Daniel Gushin, power play. I don't know if it's a power play goal or power play influence. So it's right on the buzzer of being a power play goal, but he scored. So that's 2 goals in 2 games for him. Eklund had an assist, but again, this team is very, very, very young, and they started the season 4-0. That's awesome. They now lost 4 straight. Let's see how this team starts to respond, especially now they have a lot of games here in November. So I think they play. I think they play like 5 the next 7 days or something like that. It's a lot for them. So wanted to see how this team kind of responds after kind of getting the crap kicked out of them on Sunday night. So sometimes the nice thing with those blowout games, it's easier to just kind of let things go and focus on the next game. Aaron Dell kind of was in that James Reimer situation of none of them were like super egregious, right? They were defensive lapses that put your goalie in a bad situation. So, and Dell got pulled halfway through the game from Markkanemi. Markkanemi, of course, then gives up 3 goals in the last, the second half of the game. So it wasn't like it was just Dell playing poorly. So I'm curious to see how they go. I assume Markkanemi is going to start on Tuesday when they play the Calgary Wranglers again. I don't know. Calgary Wranglers just doesn't really roll off the tongue very well. Anyway, that's just me. But again, some of the other performances, Merkley, definitely an up and down game for him, where you see some of that great stuff that he does. He breaking out, leading the transition by himself, sets up Weatherby for a good play. Weatherby hits the post. If that goes in, then this is another game we're talking about. Great job on the transition for him. Great job on some stretch passes. But, sometimes in his own end, and that's going to be the story with Merkley, where since he's not the biggest guy, sometimes when a guy with size just gets up on him and bodies him, there's not too much Merkley can do there, where, maybe it's instead of trying to do too much, instead of getting yourself in that position against a bigger guy, passing it to your partner and pull you up and letting him start the transition. But, I think though with the Barracuda it hasn't really been the rookies that have been your problem. I mean, yes, they've had some defensive lapses and stuff like that, but when it comes to actual like producing points, it hasn't been the rookie. Robbins has been scoring really well. Bordelot's, I think he's got 3 goals this year. We're seeing Eklund providing offense. Gushin's got 2 goals in the last 2 games, but it's not the, your Agazinos and your Sousas and, these other guys you signed to kind of be your veterans. These guys really just haven't been producing as much as you would like. Again, they do a lot of the other stuff right, but at some point, your job is to score goals, especially Agazino, who's your first line center. I know he had an assist, but you need to see more constant production. So it's a mix of everything with the Barracuda right now, where the rookies are providing points, but they're making rookie mistakes, and that's expected to happen, right? The veterans not making as many mistakes, but they're not providing point production. So it's early in the season. It's a very long season. I think this team is going to get better and better, especially as the rookies get more acclimated. And you hope the veterans can start to find some of those points that this team needs right now. So again, losing 8-2, I think, for a team that's young like this, I think it's easier to just kind of rebound after that and be like, that was just a bad game where everything went wrong. Got a new game on Tuesday. They also hadn't played in the week, got their legs back under them. So hopefully Barracuda, they can start to kind of put things together here now. But again, that Calgary Wranglers team, it's a pretty good team. As we saw, they put up 8 points. So that's going to do it for me tonight. Be back. So we got a little time before the Sharks play. So I'm going to kind of do a nice prospect check-in. So we're going to look at some of the prospects around for the Sharks, how they're doing right now, excluding the Barracuda, because we spend a lot more time talking about the Barracuda now than we have in previous. But I'm going to look at some of the other prospects, especially the 2022 draft class, how they're doing early in their seasons. Then we're going to look at some of the new guys that the Sharks signed. So how is Nico Sturm, Luke Kunin, Oscar Lindblom, how are these guys performing so far this year? So I'm going to have that for Tuesday and Wednesday. I haven't decided which one's going to go first, but so make sure you guys check out your feed for that. Then we'll get you guys ready for the Blues game on Thursday. So yeah, that'll be it. Until next time, yes. Make sure you guys are following along Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at Locked On Sharks. Post all of our stuff there. You can also listen wherever you get podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Odyssey, you name it. Wherever you can listen to podcasts, do that. YouTube, subscribe. Getting close to 1,500. Going to have a giveaway for 1,500. I will probably announce it sometime this week. So you're not going to want to miss that. And pretty awesome giveaway, if I do say so myself. And then follow me on Twitter at Fryhole. Again, back tomorrow. More Sharks talk. Until then, bye, friends.